This is August 11th, 1983. Joe Todd, an interview with Mrs. Bertha Ladd, L-A-D-D. Mrs. Ladd, where were you born?
Bell County, Texas.
When's your birthday?
It's July the 26th, 1903.
1903.
Just had a birthday. Had a big party.
I won't ask how old you are.
Well, no, nobody could figure that out.
Who was your father?
Edgar, W-A-T-T-S.
Was he from Texas?
He was born in Mississippi. Came to Texas, Bell County when he was young, and then moved up.
Who was your mother?
Willie, W-I-L-L-I. She was, I want to say A or E. Grimes, G-R-I-M-E-S.
Was she from Texas?
She was originally from Tennessee, and they moved into Bell County and been on here.
What kind of work did your father do?
He was a farmer.
How long did you spend in Bell County?
Me, 3 years.
Have any memories of it?
Yes, I can remember the day we left.
What was that day like?
Well, we were in a great big, on a wagon with team horses, and I was sitting on the trunk, and I had to leave my bulldog behind, and I could see that dog. Every time I see a bulldog, I can see that dog following us. And that dog saved my life one time. I was on a pallet in the field. Mother and Dad were hoeing cotton, and when they came, they'd left me on a pallet, and when they came up to the end of the row, well, that dog had killed a rattlesnake. Well, I remember that. I don't remember that, but I remember that. They told me about it.
How come your parents moved to Oklahoma Territory?
They were washed out. I can hear them say that they gathered their corn in a rowboat, flooded out, came to this new territory, hoping to make a fortune, or hoping to live better.
And they settled in?
Well, they settled up north of Martha, and then eventually moved into Martha.
How come they came to Martha?
Well, I don't know. Dad had a sister, I guess, her husband. They had a post office and a general merchandise store there early days, and for a couple of years he clerked in that store. And then he started farming for the old-timer Henry Dowdy farm, and he lived on it for years and years and years.
Did your father stake a claim here or file for a homestead?
No, it was already
so
when we came.
Was your father a sharecropper then, or?
Yeah, I suppose you'd call that a sharecropper. He was worked on 3rd and 4. He had his own team of mules, plow.
As a child, what kind of chores you do in the farm?
Oh, we did it all. We chopped cotton and pulled bowls and run a harrow, plowed with the Go Devil.
How'd you chop cotton?
How?
Yeah, tell me how.
I'd have to demonstrate and show you. Did you never chop cotton? You know how. Well, when it was real hot, you'd dig a little place of dirt out where it'd be nice and cool, and put your bare feet in that and cool them off while your dad piled your hoes for you. That's one thing you did.
You had to thin the cotton out?
Yes, we did then.
How much
About every 12
out?
inches. And sometimes we'd hire out, and I remember a farmer, we had to be almost exact to get that exact 12 inches.
How long were your rows, the cotton rows?
Well, that field where we lived so long were, they were half-mile long rows.
How long did it take to chop one row?
Don't know how much weeds there was. Sometimes it was, get 1 or 2 rows a day, it would be thick. Grass, water grass, blue weeds. Our farm, we've had blue weeds in it.
How much cotton could you pick in a day?
Well, at picking, I think the most I ever picked in one day was about 300, but I got pretty good at pulling bowls. I could pull 500.
Now, what's the difference between picking and pulling bowls?
What's the difference?
Yeah.
Well, you pull bowls, you can get everything but the stalk and shake the dirt off. And picking with, you hurt your fingers, pick up your fingers, they'd be so sore you could hardly.
You have to pick the cotton out of the bowl then?
Yeah, but pulling bowls, you just snapped it all off.
Yeah.
It's really
Where was the gin?
Martha.
Martha? Who ran the gin?
You mean those early days?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I don't know. Sam Straw, there was a gin manager out there for a long, long time. Vic Estridge was a gin manager out there for a long, long time.
You know, Mr. Cotner has bought that old gin. He managed that one.
That was called the Chickasha gin, and Vic Estridge was manager.
When was that gin built?
When? Now that I couldn't give you as long. I'd say in the early 30s, but now I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It was from Chickasha. Oh well.
Okay. What else you do on the farm? You said you used a harrow,
Yeah. Did you know what a harrow was?
but tell me what it is.
Well, we'd walk behind it, and it would pulverize the cotton, and you had to be real careful about turning around or it'd turn over with you. Some of them had seats on them, but ours didn't.
Did you do any plowing?
Oh yeah, with the cultivator.
How much could you plow in a day?
You couldn't plow more than 4 or 5 acres, I'm sure. 3 or 4.
What was the major crops you raised?
Cotton.
That was the main crop?
Mm-hmm. That all we ever.
Mm-hmm. What about domestic chores?
Oh, I'd wash on a rub board, and churn butter with a button-down churn.
You make your soap?
Made our own soap.
How do you make soap?
Well, you put your cracklings in your big old wash pot, certain amount of water, and so many cans of lye. Boil it until it was until it would be firm in a little bit of tested water, I think is what we did.
Mm-hmm. You do the ironing?
Oh yeah, first with those old flat irons with a handle, and then we got some that had a little cap you'd set over them, and then we had a what are those? Had gasoline.
Mm-hmm. With a flat iron, how much of a dress or shirt could you iron before the iron would get cold?
Well, no, we heated it on an old coal oil burner. It wouldn't be more than 5 minutes. And then you'd have to. We kept them on the burner, 3 on a burner, and a skillet turned over them, keep the heat on them. And then we had that gasoline we'd pump up. We had a gasoline lamp called Rio lamp. What do they call it? I don't know.
You have a wind charger?
Finally, just before we left the farm, we had a wind charger, and we had one electric light bulb, and it would pull that light bulb and one little radio.
What year was that when you got your wind charger?
That was about 1936, 37,
36.
somewhere like that.
Did you make your starch when you ironed shirts and dresses?
We made it from hot starch. Sure.
What's hot starch?
Cold starch. Well, you put the powder in cold water and then pour boiling water over it, and
What kind of powder?
faultless starch.
Oh, just faultless starch.
Yeah.
Where'd you start school?
Oh, when? 19 and I started at Martha. I was 6 years old, be 1909.
1909.
Mm-hmm.
Was it just Martha School?
Martha School. It was a little, the first school was a little two-room, I reckon two-room, frame building. That building is still, that Martha was a little old lady that still lives in that building. They made a resident out of it. And then they got a kind of a red brick building with a basement. I think the present one out there would be about the fourth school building we've had before, I'm sure.
What was your teacher's name? First teacher?
Miss McConnell. McConnell.
What was your favorite subject?
Oh, I didn't have one. I didn't have one.
Tell me the worst mischief you got into in school.
Most embarrassing?
Yeah.
Well, I was in the 7th grade and I was chewing gum. Paul A. Hill was the teacher. He said, "Do you have gum in your mouth?" And that time I swallowed it. Otherwise, I'd had to go in front of the school and dumped it out in the waste paper basket. That was pretty bad.
Ever get a whooping?
No. No, if I had, I'd gotten one when I got home.
Do you remember Statehood Day, 1907?
No. I remember the first train that came through Martha.
Tell me that.
Well, we all gathered down to the railroad track it was coming in from Altus, and it was just about sunset. Anyway, they had the lights on, and it came steaming in from Altus and going to Mangan. The whole crowd. We lived right there by the track at that particular time, and the whole town turned out to see it. It was all lighted in 4, 5, or 6 coaches, MK&T. It was going from Altus to Mangan.
But the first car?
That we owned or saw or heard?
First car you saw?
Well, I can't remember. I remember the folks down about when we first came here, it was real stormy weather. We weren't used to the storms. And we'd gone to the cellar, I think Dad said about 11 nights in a row. And one night he was so tired we'd been and then came back. And all of a sudden this racket came down the road, and he thought it was a tornado coming. And he grabbed all of us and held us on the bed. And when it got to the house, it was old Dr. Clarkston from Blair had been out in the country making a call, and it was his old car chugging down the road. Dad thought it was a tornado. And that old car had that rubber horn, on the side.
What's your favorite childhood memory?
Well, playing with the sisters, I guess. We all had we had a lot of fun with our friends and with the 4 of us children.
How many brothers and
We
sisters?
enjoyed playing. I don't have any brothers. Didn't have any sons, so I went 2 generations without a boy in our family.
What kind of games did you play as a child?
Well, we made mud pies and put flowers on them out of the pasture. We played a lot of, you wouldn't call them card games then, but we had old pig and stuff like that we played at night.
Did your father raise hogs?
No, more than 1 or 2.
Did you help butcher?
Yes, didn't kill them, but we had to put up the meat. We'd render the lard and grind the sausage. Now, we did that in our immediate home.
How do you render lard?
We'd cut the meat up in little strips, the fat meat, and put it in this old 30, 40-gallon iron kettle. Cook it till all the grease came out and the cracklings were brown.
You eat the cracklings?
That's what we made the soap out of. We'd eat some, and sometimes we'd make crackling bread, put it in our cornbread.
What about beef? Did you butcher your own beef?
We did. We would, before refrigeration, we would kill one or two a winter and hang it out in a open smokehouse or on the back porch, hind quarter. They don't make meat like that anymore. And then we got to where we would take it to the locker plant when they had a locker plant in Altus, one in Mangan. We would take it.
Did you smoke your own hams? Or cure your own hams?
We cured them. We didn't smoke them. We sugar cured them.
How do you sugar cure?
Well, of course, the men would do that. They had a recipe they'd go by. They'd use brown sugar and syrup, and saltpeter and pepper, and sprinkle it over it while it was fresh and let it lay in that for a certain length of time. And then they would wash it off and hang it in cloth bags to protect them from the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Hang them in the smokehouse.
World War One.
Well, I can remember the troop trains coming through, and when some of them believed from Martha, we'd come to Altus and watch the train pull out with them. I wasn't old enough to date by then, but I remember how, how sad the girls would be that see their boyfriends leave.
Mm-hmm. Did many boys from Martha go to the war?
Oh yeah, there was an enormous amount of them. They were a lot of them were in the, and I can't give you anything history on that. 36th Division, or
Yeah.
they
right.
trained at Fort. A lot of them trained at Fort Worth.
Mhm.
I had 4 uncles that were in service. But
They all come back?
yes, they were all.
What about, remember anyone going to Mexico, Chase Pancho Villa,
Mm-mm.
1916?
Sure don't.
What about Armistice Day?
Well, I can tell you exactly what I had on. Exactly, I had on a little pink checkered dress, and we all went to the Baptist church in Martha, and had a devotional service.
Was there a big celebration in Martha?
Well,
for the armistice?
that's all I can remember.
Mhm.
I'm sure there was.
When did you graduate from high school?
1923
From Martha?
from Martha. I went all 12 years at Martha. In fact, we went nearly 13. School closed one time when I was in 8th grade. Well, school was cut short on account of funds, and we had to repeat our 8th grade. So I really went to school 13 years.
Mm-hmm. What did you do after high school?
I got married.
Where'd you meet your husband?
Well, he came out here from Tennessee and was farming with family, Mr. and Ms. Rousey out there at Martha, and they were real good friends of ours.
What's his name?
John W. Ladd.
When did you get married?
We married the 12th day of January, 1924.
You stay in Martha after you got married?
Stayed in Martha on a farm. We always farmed all the rest of our life, as long as he lived.
Were there many flappers in Martha?
I'd say there were quite a few.
Were you one?
Well, I thought I was.
She was the beauty queen of the school.
You were the beauty queen of the school.
Colleen said that. I didn't say that.
What is a flapper?
Well, you wear short dresses and high-top shoes. Those were long-waisted and a little kind of a cap for a hat. Short hair. I didn't get to bob my hair after I married because my dad wouldn't let me bob my hair.
Did your husband let you? You just bob it?
No, he wanted it bobbed. His brother cut it off for me. Felt like I'd committed a crime, but
Where does the word flapper come from?
oh, I have no idea. France, I think, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
I would think so. It originated, I guess, during World War I. I wouldn't know.
Oh, tell me about the flu epidemic, 1918.
Oh, it was terrible. We lost some of our very best friends. I almost lost a sister. And the winter was terrible. It snowed an awful lot. And the old Dr. McRae was the doctor. And he'd go day and night. Of course, he had a travel buggy. And he'd just go from one house to the other. And people would, I know my dad and mother sat up for night after night with sick neighbors. My dad never did take it, but the rest of us did have it at home.
Did you have it too?
Yeah, we all had it, except him. And then I know we did. We kept a baby about 6 weeks of a mother that finally died with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a neighbor help neighbor. Wasn't like it was now.
What do you do for the flu? What kind of remedies did you have?
Flu? Girl, they can tell you that. I don't know.
Yeah, what?
They would have some little pills and they'd mash it up, put it in a paper, and you take so many powdery stuff, but I have no idea what. For chest infection, we'd use coal oil, a mixture of coal oil and tallow and what else?
What is a good remedy for the flu?
Choline.
What did they use for the flu remedy, 1918?
Well, doctor would come to your house and he'd have these little pieces of paper.
Yeah.
And he'd take his little spatula and he'd mix up a bunch of stuff and throw it up in those little papers. And you'd take so many of those for so long. And you'd take a dose of calamine. And you'd take a dose of castor oil. And
What would we mix up?
I don't know. They never, you never did know what, we never did know what they mixed up. We just, he had this little satchel, had these little bottles in it. And I think Dr. Crowe do that for me lots of times, but just take that little satchel for a little bit and mix it all up. And I don't know how many little papers it was, 6 or 8 of them.
Each dose would be in one separate paper. And then you'd soak if you stepped on a nail or injured, just punctured, you'd soak it in coal oil. We'd do that. We didn't know what a hospital was, and not much. We always had an old family doctor out there that took care of us.
How bad was the depression around Martha? How did it affect you and your family?
Well, we didn't know it was bad because we was all in the same boat. we would, we raised our own food, and it wasn't. I guess like Tennessee Ernie Ford, we was poor and didn't know it.
Yeah.
We all got along, self-supporting.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about the dust storms.
Oh, they were terrible. It would be, some days it'd be just as still, not a breath of air anywhere, and there'd be 4 and 5 inches of gray-looking dust settle on everything. And sometimes it would blow, the sand would blow for 3 and 4 days at a time. You couldn't see your mailbox across the road. And when it would be hot, well, we would put wet cloths over the doors, let the wind blow through those wet cloths to try to keep the babies cool.
Mm-hmm. What is dust pneumonia?
What?
Dust pneumonia? What is that?
Well, we had a friend that had dust pneumonia, and I think she died from it. I wouldn't know unless it's just congestion from the breathing too much dirt.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah, my daddy used to have it every time he started working at the gym. He'd have dust pneumonia.
What is it?
Well, it's just from breathing the dust, and it's just congestion in the lungs. He'd come home and have chills, so I think that you would absolutely shake the bed there about dust pneumonia when he first went to work at the gym.
Do people have chills anymore?
No, you think about anybody having a chill?
My dad would come in from work, and he'd be so tired, a fever, and he'd have a chill. But we never did have malaria. Now, that's one reason they left Texas, on account of malaria.
Mhm.
They were,
Oh, tell me about your early Christmases as a child.
oh, they weren't too, they weren't too elaborate at all. The folk, they did the best they could.
What kind of
Sometimes-
tree would you have?
I don't remember having a tree on at the church. We always had a community tree, and they would take our gifts and put it on the community tree, and each child would get their gift off the community tree.
Mhm.
And then after they quit having one at the church, well, by that time we were pretty well up to, teenagers. We'd get clothes, fruit maybe. We didn't see much fruit in childhood, because a lot of times we'd get an orange and we'd keep it for a while because we shared it with our
Mhm.
friends. So we didn't hardly know what too much fruit was, because you don't raise that out in this country. It didn't then.
What was your first reaction when you heard the Japanese had bombed Pearl Harbor?
Well, we were on our way to church, and we had heard it before we left home. We had a little radio, and we got to church. Well, there was so much sadness because we had some boys that was at Pearl Harbor, and one boy in particular was on the Enterprise, and it was first, it was reported sunk, and I remember hearing that mother say, well, it's just up to the Lord whether he survives or not. So I can remember that. He was at the church, and we were all at the church.
Were there many Germans in this area?
Several families, some of our very best friends were Germans.
Was there any animosity
None
toward
that
them
I
for the
knew
war?
anything about.
Did you do any work for the war effort in World War II?
I needed a washer. They turned it down. No, that was World War I. I did that. No, World War II, we sold, we had all kinds of programs and sold bombs. And I remember collecting for Red Cross. Collecting money was a,
You go collect metal or
volunteer.
anything, or
Huh?
cans? You go collect cans or metal, or that's strictly for boys that did that?
well, I think that was before then. I remember gathering up trailer loads of iron and trash, scrap iron and stuff, taken to the town. And then they said it came back, in bullets. I remember that story.
What kind of work you do in World War I? You say you knitted a washcloth?
Yeah, I needed to wash.
They turned it
They
down?
turned it down because it was out of shape.
What else you do in World War I?
That's all I can remember. I wasn't, what old was I? I was 15. I should have remembered more about it. We ate cornbread for breakfast. I remember doing that. Conserved wheat. But I liked it. I could eat cornbread now for breakfast.
What'd you do on VE and VJ Day?
I don't remember.
When the war ended, World War II.
I don't remember anything special that we did. We always had special programs at the schoolhouse or the church special. And then when the boys came home, well, they would talk, tell us about it at our services and all.
Who were some of the prominent people in Martha?
From what?
People in Martha?
Well, Henry Dowd and his family, he had a big family. And the J.C. Collier family. My granddaddy was A.C. Watts. He had 2 children that settled there, and the others moved away. The Woodridge family was old timers. The Kearley family. A lot of them came from, forded the river at Vernon and bought their lumber from Vernon. and built their homes out there.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah.
I lost my husband in '49,
Mhm.
and we had 3 grown daughters. 2 of them were married, the other one's in college. They're the keep me going now. They're all
How many kids do you have?
3.
How many grandkids?
I have 3.
Any great grandkids yet?
Not yet.
Who was Martha named after?
Well, Martha, she was postmaster there, and her name was Mandel, or I don't know. It started with an M. Martha. Anyway, after the first postmaster in Martha.
When is the post office set up in Martha?
Well, they have a brand new one. You know where the Cottoners were. It's just right back of the Cottoners there. It's a brand new one.
Mm-hmm.
And the old red brick there is the old First State Bank. It's still there. They have an insurance there.
Yeah. When was Martha settled?
Well, it was sometime in 1880.
When they finally settled the issue in Old Greer County? Greer
No,
County,
I
Texas,
don't,
Greer
but we
County,
lived
Oklahoma.
in Greer County, Texas before we lived in Jackson County, Oklahoma.
You did.
But I don't know anything about the details.
Do you know what year that was finally settled?
Oh, of course, we were made a state in 1907, so I wouldn't, too little to know.
Yeah. Who settled the town of Martha?
You mean the old timers there?
Yep, the old timers.
Well, these families I told you came before statehood. The Hosmer family was a minister there, and the Doughty, C.A. Henry Doughty, he had a big family. And there was a G.W. family that lived out there south of town. They were old. They came early days.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Seemed like I don't know just how many group of neighbors and friends.
Mhm.
This Ms. Hosmer, I remember her saying that one time they got word that the Indians were going to raid the town, and the men put the women all in a store, and they all got their guns and things ready, but the Indians never did show up. That was before the 1900s.
When's the first time you saw Indians around here?
I've never, only visitors is all you see around here.
Yeah.
You don't, we have a few, not too
Mhm.
many. They're just citizens like everybody else.
When did you move to Altus?
Well, let's see, I moved in August 1949.
How come you moved to Altus?
Well, my husband had died and I couldn't farm, so I got a job at the hospital. It was just opening, and the next 25 years it was just a hospital.
What'd you do?
PBX operator, receptionist.
Okay.
Miss Tate and I, she went to work the same day I did. We worked there 25 years.
Mm-hmm. So you were an operator for 25 years?
PBX operator.
PBX. What's PBX?
Well, you answer the telephone and try to keep everybody in a good humor.
Keep the doctor happy.
Keep the doctor happy. You try to.
Well, what else you want to talk about?
Well, that's just about it. Since then, I've been doing volunteer work.
When did you start working here at the museum?
I've just been working here about 1 year, haven't I? About 1 year. One
Mhm.
afternoon a week, and one morning a week I work at the senior citizen transportation,
Mhm.
dispatcher for them. And then, about the last 6 months, I've been working one half day a month, blood mobile. That's it. We felt
Well-
once a month, once a week at the,
Mhm.
so I stay busy.
Well, I think we have a good interview. Let's see.
I got out some good work.
Okay. Thank you.